Very short agenda. It's 5 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. Mark, you already have the attendance?
Yeah, I'll just mention who's here.
Okay.
Let me get my minutes up. I had to reboot my computer, so everything that I had on my in preparation for the meeting is I'm just resetting it all. All right, so I have Tad Dockery, Katie Nelson, Ken Markert, Dan Ramsey, Nate Day, Peter Connor, and we are also joined by our guest, Kirsten Kleckner.
All right, very good.
Okay.
Okay, the first order of business is the minutes from the January 12th, 2023 meeting. Mark's got them on the screen. Are there any questions, comments, changes? If not, I would entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
This is Katie. I'll move approval.
Thank you, Katie. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Is that you, Tad?
That is me, Tad.
Thank you, Tad. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of accepting the minutes signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Our next item on our agenda is to select a date and a time for a committee walk, and this was a suggestion from Tad. So Tad, why don't you tell us, give us just kind of a brief little summary of what you had in mind and where you think you might want to lead us, and then we'll talk about timing.
Yeah. So for the first walk, I kind of figured I would propose selfishly, but also, you know, I think quite importantly, walking along Century, specifically along my stretch. I'm thinking at least from Donna Frank Lloyd Wright down probably to Allen, and we'd start at one point and go the other way and then do a full circle. The total distance be a little over a mile.
Okay.
I'll open a map here if you'd like.
Well, I think everybody pretty much should have a fairly good idea of where that would be. But you can open the map and just show it. So this is.
Go ahead.
So this is a proposed walk to kind of get a feel for what are the conditions on Century from that point to from the stoplight there at Middleton Hills to Allen Boulevard.
Yeah, and not just I mean, obviously to get a feel for the specific conditions, but in doing so to get a feel for how people who have to walk, have to bike, that kind of thing, the kind of situations that they deal with on a daily basis. Century is, I feel, a pretty good example of that.
When you were talking about winter time as a particular concern.
Yes.
All right, do we have then, if this is something that the committee would endeavor to do, Mark, would this have to be posted as, would we have to post this as a meeting? How did we do it when we went on that bike tour? Remember we did that a few years back?
Yeah, we would post it, and the public is, you know, we would basically say, we'll meet here at this point in time, and we'll be, you know, walking. We'll mention the route and that the public is welcome to join us. But we would post that as a meeting, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. So are there any other comments from anybody else on the committee as in regards to this idea?
This is Katie. I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
I'm looking at the long range forecast, seeing if I can, have you done that, Tad?
Yeah, if we have to post, which is a good plan, but if we're posting it as a meeting, then I'm assuming that, 2 days from now is right out. I did go ahead and look. I was just looking at the forecast. It looks like there's still rain and snow next week. Beyond that, who can tell?
Yeah, I mean,
We don't have a full complement of members tonight. We're a little bit short. So why can we? Mark, can you send out a doodle or whatever you guys call it to kind of gauge when people might be available? Because I'm assuming
sorry, I'd like to start now with the 6 we have here to see what day of the week, time of day you're looking at, so we have something to start with.
Very good.
Tad, you were just talking about a couple days out. I mean, theoretically that is possible, but obviously that's a Saturday.
Right.
There's no prohibition against doing that. So I guess I wanted to start with have some direction so I know what to ask people.
That's not gonna work for me. I need a little bit more time with my schedule to rearrange things. So
yeah, like in general, when I don't know people's schedules, I tend to throw Saturdays out as an option simply because people aren't at work on Saturdays, unless they are. But it's maybe a little less likely. Because I am remote except on Wednesdays, I have a lot of flexibility about when I can show up, but I don't know that that's true for anybody else.
Sure.
May I make a suggestion, Dan? So I'm looking at the forecast and I understand the conditions that Tad wants the committee to experience. The forecast Saturday through Thursday is above freezing temperatures every day, which is wonderful if you don't like winter. But it's going to melt. It's going to result in conditions not being portrayed the way Tad wants to. Tad's concern, from what I've understood, is he wants to see the snowbanks and the blocked handicapped the ADA ramps.
There is also the secondary condition of spray of water on the roads getting kicked up onto us, that semi that blasted me the other day.
So what I'm suggesting is, given the forecast, maybe if you can tell me the general days, the parameters, and leave it to me, maybe working with Tad, to, as we see a forecast coming, maybe not going out during the storm, but the day after the storm,
that's fair.
Getting a meeting that way, and hopefully we can get a quorum, and if not, we get as many people as we can. Maybe that would be the most effective way to go about this.
Yeah, if we can't get a quorum, I'm not concerned. You can still take the tour.
Right. So that would be my
discussion
suggestion
later.
Because to go out and not have the conditions that Tad's concerned about is kind of pointless, right? So, it's not pointless, but it's not as effective as what he's trying to accomplish, I think. So if you can tell me what days of the week, like obviously I'm going to avoid a council meeting or other city meetings. That's the first parameter. If a Saturday is off, if weekends are off the table, then that's good to know too. And then, in the next few weeks, we need to schedule this because spring is coming. So is that okay with you if we leave it like that?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
Or who do we have with us? Do Peter or Nate, or Ken, any of you three have an opinion?
Not really. I guess if there's some specific issues that Tad is seeing out there that our group can address or come up with some brainstormed ideas about, maybe a first step would be to take pictures of those, share them with the group. And then we all probably go in that area every now and again, so we can at least see it for ourselves, on our own time too. If we know where to look, if you make a map and just put some stars or something, so you know where to look.
Sure. Okay,
So-
Mark, why don't you work with Tad then to come up with some, and we'll, frankly, for most people, it's either probably, I would assume, going to be the weekend or an evening.
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting is I don't think I'd schedule it before 5 p.m.
Everybody's working.
Yeah, exactly. And are weekends off the table too, or not?
They're chancy for me, but we'll just,
Okay.
pick a time. And I think that was an excellent idea, that those who can go take pictures, and we can give the rest of whoever can't attend the walk, we can give them, email them pictures, and they can go look for themselves on their schedule. So that was an excellent idea too. So we'll leave it with you, Mark, to talk to Tad so that you can get the conditions that he's looking for.
Okay.
Okay. All right, very good. Our next agenda item is similar in that it's about I lost my screen for a second. There we go.
I've got it
About
on.
our committee meeting. So we're going to
you
this is
seeing
a
the
little bit slower time. This is a little bit slower time of year. So we're going to combine our April and March meeting and keep it at the 5 o'clock. Is the 23rd Thursday, Mark?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So we'll have a combined meeting March 23rd, and that will be for March and April. And that avoids, there's not spring break or anything in there. That would be an issue where people would be going, is it?
Right, that's the following week.
Okay.
So I was proposing this in part for selfish reasons because of my schedule, but also because the work, as you can see, this meeting agenda was pretty light.
It's a slower time of year until things start to pick up. So if there's no objections to that, Mark, plan on our next meeting then being March 23rd at 5 o'clock.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right. And then our last item on the agenda is
Updates.
updates. Do you have some updates for us?
I do. I wanted to just share with you what our engineering staff are up to this year, specifically the sidewalk projects. We haven't talked about those for a little while. We've been talking about streets. As you probably all know, the city every year focuses on a certain region of the city, a sector. Actually, I think they call them quadrants downstairs, but they divide it into 8, so it's not really a quadrant, but you get the idea. Certain regions of the city are the focus for addressing sidewalk defects. And this year, they're working in what they call Area 1, which is Middleton Hills, Highland Way. So basically, the area bounded north of Century, bounded by from Middleton Hills east to Highland Way. They also are going to, so what they've done is they've identified, sidewalk squares that are heaving, where there's tripping hazards, or where there's cracked sidewalks that need to be replaced, and then those get improved, and the expense is borne by the adjoining property owner. That's the city's longstanding policy. This year, as part of this project, the sidewalk project, they are also going to be adding sidewalks along Murphy Drive and Forsythia Street. At least I should say that those are going to be included in the bid that has been opened, or it's not open, but it's going out as of today. They'll open the bids on March 23rd. So if those costs come in within a reasonable budget, then we can proceed with all those additional street segments. And those street segments were authorized by the Planning Commission because they are currently locations that do not have sidewalks. So Murphy Drive, I think we talked about this previously, but Murphy Drive is going to be a bus route in the future, starting in June. And then along Forsythia by Kiva, there aren't sidewalks there, and Kiva is planning an expansion, so this is the time to add sidewalks. So that, and then also the final segment is along Pheasant Branch Road. The council authorized that as part of the 2023 budget. And that is from Old Creek Road, where the sidewalk ends at Old Creek Road, north to Conservancy Lane. It's a segment that, you know, you can see the goat path, if you will, from pedestrians walking in the grass and the snow. And so that would be a sidewalk, and that's been authorized by the council as well. So those are the projects for this year. If they, again, the bids will be opened on the 23rd, and hopefully we can get all those constructed this year. That's just the main update I wanted to give you. Street improvement projects, I don't have anything new to report other than Elmwood Avenue. There's been some difference. The Public Works Committee and staff have taken the PedBike Transit Committee's recommendations and are doing the best they can with them, but they're not probably going to be proceeding with every bit of those, every one of those, because of some engineering concerns. And I had hoped to get you a report on that for this meeting, but I was on vacation and haven't followed up with them to know exactly what they're doing.
That's on the Public Works agenda for next Monday.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Thank you for Dan. I didn't want to promise that because I haven't seen that agenda yet. So with that information, if you are interested in following that issue, then I would recommend you attend the Public Works Committee meeting next Monday at 6:30. For example, the speed humps that were recommended, there's some spacing requirements, design requirements that they can't be at driveways. So that affects where they have to be a certain distance from driveways. So that affects where they can be placed. So there's things like that they have taken the committee's guidance from December and are doing the best they can with it. But I don't think all of it's being pursued, but that will be discussed on Monday, as Dan noted. So that's what I have to report.
All right, very good. Any other questions? Okay, if there's no questions, this may be our shortest meeting on record. So I thank everyone for coming, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Katie. Second? I will second. All those in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Very good. Thank you all. I appreciate your time.
All right, take care. Goodbye.
Bye.
Good night.